Welcome to the Business for Aligned Women podcast. I'm Honey. I'm a coach working primarily with women and specializing in aligned business, personal transformation, and embodiment. Each week here I'll be sharing business strategy, business advice, tips and tools for you to think more deeply, for you to get more self-aligned, and for you to start your week in the most conscious and intentional way possible. This week, we will be continuing on with our journey that we started last week. I got such a great response on it that I decided to make this at least a 2-part series. 3 tips to start showing up online, part 2. If you haven't listened to last week's episode, I strongly recommend that you go back and listen to that first. This is the final chance and the very last time that I'm going to invite you to join the Magnetic Mastermind. It is happening in the whole month of September, and you only have a few days left to sign up. If you are someone who struggles to know what they should be marketing in your business, if you can't answer exactly who your target audience is and why they should work with you and why you're special and the special things you should be marketing about your product or your service, then you should definitely be joining that container. If you are really unsure about what you should even be saying in your content, or it feels like you're just making stuff up or you're just throwing stuff at the wall and you have no strategy when it comes to your marketing, this container is for you. It's a 1-month container for the whole month of September with weekly sessions and weekly homework projects to do in between the sessions. There is also an opportunity to upgrade to a 1-to-1 session with me to be included in the container. That is your final and only chance to have a one-off session with me. Otherwise, speaking to me 1-to-1 only happens in coaching intensives. If you have been trying to grow a business, or you've grown a business, but it's hit a bit of a rough patch, or you feel like things need to pivot, this is definitely for you. If you love my advice and my support, but working in an intensive is just too much for you for any reason, this container is going to be such a gentle stepping stone, and you're going to get so much out of it. You're getting a huge amount of value in this one container, and this is the last opportunity that you will get to have a live container with me at this low price point. My containers, my yearly lives, will be increasing in investment from now on. So I invite you to sign up for the Magnetic Mastermind. And if you have any questions at all, please send me a DM. I would absolutely love to talk to you about it. I would love to guide you on why this is going to be beneficial for you. And I really hope to see you in that container. If you have never been in a live container with me, I attract really great people. I attract really kind women. I attract very creative women. I attract very, very conscientious people. And it's always a great community vibe. I've actually seen people kind of blow up a little bit and also get way more confident just from being in a live container with me, and everyone following each other and everyone commenting on each other's stuff and everyone supporting each other. And I know people that have met in a container with me and then went on to living together because of the connection that they made, because it's just the kind of people that I attract. If you're also looking to build lifelong friends, or maybe some business girlies that you can catch up with, this is a great opportunity to do it. I hope to see you in that container in September. Let's jump into 3 more tips to start showing up online. Number 1, we're going back into these first 2 points are really around that instant gratification space. And it's something that I have referred to as the enemy in my business before. You can probably tell by the tone of my voice. It's such a downer. It's so annoying and embarrassing. I'm so very over having to deal with it or having to work people around it, because I've been working on my business for almost 6 years, and it takes time and it deserves time. And creative pursuits and impactful pursuits, they deserve the time that they require. And we can't be pushing them or forcing them to achieve more than they can in their infancy. I will often talk to my clients and say, well, your business is a baby. Stop treating it like an adult. It's a baby, and it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be cared for. It needs to be looked after. It needs to be listened to. It needs to be nourished. And if we are treating our business like something that we are going to get from before giving to, it's probably not going to work out. Of course, I will always put a disclaimer there to say there are so many opportunities to go viral in this day and age. So it's not a thing that it will never happen really quickly, but I think it's healthy to approach business growth that it's probably going to deserve some time. And within that, my first point is to stop checking your results the same day that you post something. If you're someone who posts something and then checks all day, stop doing that. Number one, the apps, especially Instagram, divvies out the likes, divvies out the comments. So someone might comment and it will only show you 3 or 4 hours later, so that it's making sure that you go online as many times throughout the day to check it. Number two, this is just a huge waste of time. I strongly suggest having a look at your results. So like what actually happened, what was the engagement every month. And 4 episodes ago, I talked about my end of month reflections ritual, and I talk about that process in that episode. If you are someone who checks every day and you want an alternative, go and listen to that episode where I explain what I think you should do instead and why. Stop going on the app, stop checking. I've had a TikTok coach say to me, like, come on, quit it. Like, you're an adult. You don't do that. Like, we just have to get on with the rest of our business and then go back and look later on. And something with my business, so I'll give you 2 little examples as to why this would be dumb to do in my business. Number one, I post my podcast at 7 a.m. on a Monday. Maybe this will change, but I do this because about 50% or 40% of the people that I work with are in Australia, and I like the concept of them starting their week and maybe they're going to work or they're starting their work week and they can listen to the episode and it kind of starts their week for them. But in the first day that I release my episode, there's probably about 30% of people who will end up listening to it. So if I was to go on at the end of a Monday and check, I would think, holy crap, what have I done? Nobody likes me. Why does no one listen to my podcast? But if I go back a week later, it's usually significantly higher. Also, sometimes people are listening to my podcast binging from the start. So they're actually going through the start and listening from then on. A lot of people tell me that they do that, and my numbers actually reflect that. And there are some people don't listen every week. Some people will listen once a month. Some people will just find you and listen to it all at once. It just doesn't make sense for me to be checking that every day. Another example from my business is that most of my TikTok following is in America. If I post in the afternoon and I check it in the evening, they've been asleep that whole time. It would be so dumb for me to be looking and trying to reflect on how they've reacted to that piece of content at the time when the majority of my followers are literally asleep, dead to the world. Okay. Number 2, stop expecting instant results. Now, just to be like very strategic and very straightforward here, every single content marketing platform requires consistency. I could think YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram all require you to be posting consistently for a significant period of time before it will push your content out. For instance, Pinterest, it's literally 6 months. 6 months of consistently posting, I think, at least once a week or daily before you'll start to get really strong results. If you think about it, this even works with emails. If you've just started up a newsletter and you send an email every 6 weeks, people never know when to expect it, so they're not going to really be invested. Whereas if I know that I am getting the Substack essay every Tuesday from Olivia, I will be looking out for that and waiting for it and opening it. I personally listen to so many podcasts. Most of them are book related. I'm not listening to like a million hours of self-help each week or anything, but I literally know the days. One of my favorite true crime podcasts, it comes out on Friday night, and I will go for a walk on a Friday night or a Saturday morning and I'll listen to that podcast. It's part of my weekly ritual. It's part of my weekly routine. And if you are not being consistent, no one can develop that routine with you. And therefore, you're not building trust, you're not building connection, you're not building a community. I know you don't like to hear it, but you have to be consistent in order to build all of those things. And I was in Melbourne the other day, a few months ago, and I was just walking down this street that I used to basically live on, and I was there all the time. And this gorgeous woman stopped me and was like, "I love your TikTok." And it's just like, I go through my day putting content into the world, and I never really think, as you know, I don't care about what other people think. So I never really think about how it's being received. I'm not sitting here going, I wonder if Lucy listened to my episode today. But when you see people that have interacted with your content and they've got something out of it and it's made them happy, and it's made them happy enough to say to you, "I love your TikTok," that's the same as, me going on my Friday night walk with my true crime podcast. And that means that I have their YouTube set up with notifications. And every time I get that little ping, I'll watch their YouTube. And damn straight, I've left a 5-star review on their podcast and their YouTube. And I will comment on their YouTube saying just really nice things, because sometimes they talk about how people leave nasty comments. So I will make sure that I am contributing positively to that community. And the reason I do that is because they have been present in my life since 2020, every single week. Okay? It creates something. It creates a vibe. It creates a community. It creates connection. It creates trust. It creates expertise. And that's what you need. Last for today, point number 3, which I think you will like, is do less, but be more consistent. Do less, but be more consistent. What do I mean by that? Most of my clients, when we start talking about what I call a content map, or what we're planning for them to post each month, they bite off way more than they can chew. And I'll go through and I'll go like, how many of this can you do each week? How many of this can you do each month? And then I'll go through and I'll go, well, I actually don't think that's realistic. And often I'll say to them, well, how many emails have you sent in the last 6 months? And they'll say 2. And I'll say, well, why do you think you can send 1 a week? And then we find middle ground and we do something more realistic. Apologies if you can hear my cat giving herself a bath in the sunshine in the background here. And what I'm saying is, if that means that you do 1 podcast a month, that's fine. Do it on the same day every month, so there's a level of consistency. People know when they can expect it. If that means you do 1 Instagram post per week, that's fine. Again, do it on the same day of the week so people know when they're going to see it. If that means that you write 1 email every quarter, that's fine, but just consistently do it every quarter. And then I would say pop a goal on there, like 3 months or 6 months. And if you can at that 6-month point look back and go, yes, I did it every month, like I said I would, then think about increasing. But often I see women start and then stop, start and stop. And if they had a more sustainable and realistic approach to the beginning, they would have built that community by now. They would have had that consistency. So these 3, stop checking results same day. I suggest check them at the end of the month. Stop expecting instant results. We've gone through that enough on this podcast. Do less, but be more consistent. I hope that can be your motto in everything, maybe in personal life as well. And maybe we need to share that motto on social media. Do less, but be more consistent. If this has been helpful to you, please don't forget to leave a review and a 5-star rating wherever you listen. If you're listening on Spotify, I do now include a little poll and a little question at the end of each episode. And I do actually personally check that every week. So if you're on that app, please respond to my poll or my question, because I'm looking at them, I'm listening to you, I'm hearing you, I'm taking it on. And if you don't already, please follow me at Honey Bashan Coaching on Instagram and honeybashan.com on TikTok, where there is so much incredible value.